I don't consider abortion empowerment for women. I consider it to actually be a disgrace. We have bought into the lie that to be powerful women, we need to behave sexually like men. So they don't tell women the threat it's going to be to their future ability to have children.
Lisa Bevere is a New York Times best-selling author of Without Rival, Fiercely Loved, and her latest book, The Fight for Female. She hosts the Fight for Female podcast. Lisa's also been featured on Life Today, Better Together, Hallmark's Home and Family, and more. She's a cancer survivor and has been married to her husband John for over 40 years. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me today. Abortion is often framed as women's empowerment. From your perspective, isn't it protecting life that actually empowers women?
So absolutely. The empowerment of abortion is found by traffickers are empowered through abortion. Sex abuse is empowered. Prostitution is empowered by abortion. It causes a irresponsibility on those who are being the perpetrators. So I don't consider abortion empowerment for women. I consider it to actually be a disgrace. I feel like we have bought into the lie that to be powerful women, we need to behave sexually like men, or to allow men to have no consequences for sexual interaction with women. And so it's really something that creates a victim. Women become victims because there is a consequence to an abortion. A lot of times people don't understand, it's not just a clump of cells, and every single woman knows that. She, at some level, I've talked to so many women, Catherine, that have had abortions who were told things that sounded so compassionate, like one day you're going to be an amazing mother, but it's just not time. And I was talking to this young woman who was a Harvard graduate, had 3 abortions. And then she finds herself in the future where she actually wants to have a child, and she can't have a child because of her choices in the past. They don't tell women the threat it's going to be to their future ability to have children. And right now, I feel like so many women have lost their minds because they are not empowered to nurture and connect with their God-given ability to carry life and care for life. It's very anti-female to want to destroy the vulnerable.
Yes, and I think what you said about nurture, I think it's almost seen as a sign of weakness to nurture, well, in society nowadays. And what lies about womanhood do you think abortion culture has normalised? We can see that also in your book, The Fight for Female, but can you unpack that a bit more for our viewers?
Yeah, I mean, I do think we have some situations that have never been present before. Number one, we have the birth control pill, and the birth control pill is being shown to actually change the way women think. Like, women are not processing things in a healthy way. The birth control pill shoves women into a constant luteal phase instead of a follicular phase. And so their brain is actually attracted to the wrong kind of men at the wrong time. And it's just crazy. But that's not just affecting the women that take the birth control pill, it's actually going into the water supply. And so now we have women in the United States of America who are being affected by the birth control pill, whether they've ever taken it or not, because it's in the water supply. And then the abortion pill, same thing. It's going into the water supply. And so now women who want to have children are having the challenge of miscarriage. There's miscarriage, there's a misalignment with our cycles as women. And so these are things I actually didn't even know when I was writing The Fight for Female. But women are the most powerful when they are in their God-given kind of mandate or God-given domain, which is nurture, which is protection, which is wisdom, which is relational dynamics. And right now, you look at women, I know it's crazy in Scotland as well, but women are the furthest thing from nurturing. They're the furthest thing from wisdom. They're the furthest thing from actually being relationally driven. They are disconnected. They are out of control. They're out of their mind. As so many women are angry about everything. And if you ask them to even have reasonable patterns of thought, they can't even formulate those. They're like, well, I'm just mad, And so many people are stirred up because, here's the thing. In the book of Isaiah, I believe it's chapter 42, it says that God will show us the way we are made so that we can live the way we were created. And when you and I say, no, I'm not going to live that way. I'm not going to pursue covenant relationships. I'm not going to honor God with my body. I'm not going to honor my body the way it's created. I'm going to live how I want to live. We actually find ourselves unmade. And there is an unmaking in the mindset. There's an unmaking in the body, where now it's gone as far as the feminist mindset in the United States of America, and I believe it's also in the crazy UK right now, is that men can be women. And, and I'm like, wait, that is the ultimate form of misogyny. And yet
And get
women
pregnant.
have,
That's what we're
yes, have
told as
so,
well.
yeah, they have so devalued their role that they're willing to just throw away their inheritance. It's crazy.
It's mind-boggling. And how do you speak then truthfully about abortion in without losing compassion for the women who feel trapped or afraid?
Usually the women that have had abortions, they're victims of lies. And so I think you can speak to the situation. One of the things that I've been the most excited about is now technology gives us a window into the womb. So you can see, like, you see so many. I love live action. I was just with Lila last week. You see so many people that have absolutely no idea what's happening in an abortion process. And then when they see, oh my goodness, I had no idea that this is how it was happening, that a child is torn apart, that, this kind of dynamic is happening where this baby is alive and it's being killed. They've been told it's a clump of cells. They don't believe it's something with heartbeat. They don't see hands and fingers. And now all of a sudden they can. And almost consistently, when they see the atrocity and the cruelty of it, they're overwhelmed. And so just as these people maybe on the street, when they're asked questions, they listen to it, they see it, and they're horrified. Women come into the abortion clinics and they are told the same lie. And when you don't know better, you can't do better. And so there's forgiveness for abortions. And so I think what the problem is, number one, they don't understand actually what's happening. Number two, if they are in the church, they do not usually find the support that they need to actually go forward with being a mother. And we've got to get way better at supporting women who make the courageous choice to keep their children, whether that is we give them the funds that they need, we make sure they have an educational plan, or if they're like at a place in their life where they're too young to raise that child, that we give them a healthy, vetted adoption process. Because we've got women selling their babies right now. They're just like, hey, I'm pregnant. You can have a baby in 3 months, whoever wants it, in the United States of America. And they're selling these babies to people that have not been vetted. The focus for these people is possibly darker than we want to admit with these children. Or they've gotten the mindset that children are commodities to be sold rather than a God entrusted legacy to be loved and nurtured and trained. So it's crazy right now. But as soon as we find out that somebody is considering an abortion, we need to not judge them. We don't call them murderers. We say, how can I come alongside of you? And what can I do to help support you in choosing life?
Yeah, for sure. And how can parents then talk to their children about abortion in a way that is honest, first of all, age appropriate and life affirming?
Yeah, I think the best way to talk to your children about abortion is not to talk to them about the act of abortion, but talk to them about the sanctity of life. I remember as a young girl, I can still, I don't even know what year I was. I probably was 10 when abortion became legal in the United States. And I sat there in mass, and I remember the priest talking about the development of the child, like what happened that week and what happened this week. And I'm so excited to meet my mom, and I'm in this world and I'm growing and my heart's, all this kind of thing. And then he said, today, my mom, I was killed or something like that. And for me, it riveted me, not the act, of course, but also the idea of the weaving and the wonder of what happens in the womb. So I think if we say abortion is wrong, don't kill children, but we do not paint the picture of that before we were ever born, God knew us, that Jeremiah was woven in his mother's womb, that David was woven in his mother's womb. So I think we always in the church, we make a mistake when we come against something without telling the wonder of that thing. And so, like, for example, I'll move it away from the abortion and give another example. When we talk about sexual purity in the church, we say it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. We don't say it's not time. And so, like, when you tell somebody the beauty of their sexuality and tell them, do not arouse or awaken love before it's time, that has a very different feel than don't you have sex until you get married. And so we have to talk about the wonder of what happens in the womb and how God is weaving together this child with purpose, that God foreknows this child. We talk about how John the Baptist leapt in Elizabeth's womb when Mary greeted him. We talk about that it's alive. It's not when it draws its first breath that it's alive. It's alive. It's already breathing amniotic fluid. It's already moving. I don't know if you've ever had a child, Catherine, but every single time when I became pregnant, I knew it was like a quickening inside of me. And so we talk about the quickening. We talk about the good things. We talk about the beauty. We involve our children if they're at an age of saying, I'm carrying a baby, and this baby, I already love this baby. I want to protect this baby. I want to take good care of myself, because by taking good care of myself, I'm taking good care of this baby. We don't refer to children as fetuses.
Yeah. We could see
We
that
don't
though.
refer to
Yeah. Yeah.
embryos.
I
Yeah.
think it's one of those things that, the abortion campaigners often say, oh, it's just a fetus, but yet their best friend or their auntie or their sister has a baby, and all of a sudden it's congratulations on your baby. Like, there's a clear, I suppose, cognitive dissonance happening that is really frustrating to watch. And I'm loving what you're saying about revealing the truth and the timelines of the unborn baby's growth in the womb, because I think the media really try to put a mask on the timeline of the growth of babies in the womb. And if people saw, each week, and we have those pregnancy apps as well, that women use to see, this is the size of your baby at this limit or this age. I think if we put more focus on that, I think it would really open the eyes to people of just what's happening, the reality of abortion. So yeah, thank you, Lisa, for that. And what gives you hope then for the pro-life movement today?
Well, I think now, I'm seeing more and more and more young people become pro-life. We're in the United States of America, it's becoming more and more evident that this is spiritual. When you can't pray outside of an abortion clinic, but they can do the call of prayer and stop traffic in downtown New York, you have to say, what is going on here? This is not congruent. If I can't pray for the unborn without getting arrested and put in jail, which has happened in the United States of America, um, then why can people that are adherents to Islam, why can they pray out loud, interrupt my day? What's going on? And so I think they're starting to say, wait, there's something going on here. And it's really tragic that we've had some heroes of debate lost in the United States. But I actually am watching more and more young people who are educating themselves to, hey, it's when does it become a baby? And they're like, oh, once it draws breath. And they're like, okay, wait a minute. And so they have this ability to have the conversations that in the past they didn't have. I know that we have to educate the next generation with truth, with fact, with the ability to be winsome and persuasive without being judgmental and hatred. I don't think standing outside of an abortion clinic and saying you're a murderer is going to win anyone. So I think going around where we have sonograms available so people can see their baby. See, it's not just a clump, it's a baby, where they can hear the heartbeat, where we can come alongside and give them another choice. Because, saying my body, my choice, first of all, is never an option for a Christian, because your body is not your choice. Your body is, you've been bought with a price. You present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. It says to glorify God with your body. So Christians, your body is not your choice. That's not your choice. Plus, it's not your body. It is the child's body that is a completely independent DNA of you, with its own fingerprints, its own dreams, its own hopes. And so it's just crazy to me that people don't understand that. But again, I've been alive since the birth control was introduced, abortion became legal, divorces became very, very easy to obtain, and I've watched as there has been a systematic deconstruction of the family, and family is the highest form of government. So healthy families create healthy communities, create healthy nations. And then we have the spiritual warfare dynamic of it, where it is the shedding of innocent blood. I mean, there's nothing more innocent than an unborn child. And it's crazy in the United States of America that the Satanic Church has fought for the right to do abortions because it says it's sacrament. So like we have the opposite, where Jesus dies for us and the Satanic Church kills children for Satan. But it's really more of a sacrifice to the God of self. And so it's not, it's very Luciferian. It's my will, my comfort, my ease. And so many young women are waking up and finding out that they wish they had made very different decisions. And, I had a moment, Catherine, where I snuck into a tent I wasn't supposed to be in when I was very young. And it had a pro-life um, booth there. And I saw in, they showed babies in different developmental stages. And I just remember it impacted me so deeply that this child that I could hold in my hand was perfectly formed, and all it did was grow from, I believe, 7 weeks forward. And I saw the little feet, and I immediately began to say, oh my gosh, what is going on? And I think abortion had only been legal probably for 2 years in the United States of America. And at that point, before I was even a Christian, when I was just a woman, when I was just a mother, when I was just protective of my young brother, when I was just aware that my mother had had 3 miscarriages and lost children. We didn't say she lost fetuses. We knew that there was a loss of life. It was called an ectopic pregnancy with one of them. I saw my mother's pain and discouragement with the loss of those children, and it imprinted it very deep on me. And then I remember, reading through the book of Isaiah and watching what would happen, and how God would say, I'm going to hold no man blameless that sheds innocent blood. And then I realized there was the sex cult and the sacrifice of children that were conceived during these, sexual orgies. And I was like, what in the world, to Moloch? And here we are again. It's nothing new. It's the same spirit. It's just way more subtle and way more deceptive.
So what practical steps then can ordinary people take to become advocates for life beyond just holding opinions?
Yeah, well, first of all, I do think when you have opinions without knowledge, you're going to get in trouble. So I do think your show organizations that have done a really good job, like Live Action or Students for Life, where you can listen to the debates, where you hear the arguments and you hear the answers. I mean, this is something worth training your mind for. This is something worth getting into the scriptures with. This is something that you need to research on your own so that you can actually be ready to give an answer. That's what Paul said, be ready to give an answer for what you believe. And it isn't just I believe in Jesus, it's I believe in life. I believe in family. I believe in a woman's right to be in a covenant relationship of marriage, to not be violated, to not feel like she can't say no. And if there's a problem, then she can just get an abortion, or to get on the pill and have it actually change her brain for the rest of her life. I mean, these are things. And even now, and this has gotten me in a lot of trouble, but it's true. Um, the birth control pill does not always stop conception. The birth control pill has been known to thin the uterine lining, and it stops implantation. So there are women who have had conceptions and there has been a loss of life and they never even knew it. And, I had my people push back so hard. And so I just posted the insert from Low Avril on my Instagram. But here's the thing, it's the truth. And too many people, Catherine, they want to close their eyes. They don't want to see the truth. But when we open our eyes and we see the truth, then we need to be courageous and we need to take a step. I was talking to our team this morning and I said, courage isn't something that just falls on you all at once. It is built into your life one step at a time. Having a conversation with somebody that disagrees with you in a courageous but kind way, saying, I believe that life happens at conception, showing them some of those beautiful images of the light that's released the moment that the sperm hits the egg. Something is created that is beautiful, talking to them about the scriptures that talks about life within the womb, and these two amazing figures of the prophetic and the promise quickened in their mother's womb, jumping at the realization that these two women are carrying the promise and carrying the prophetic thing, that God is always partnered with the womb of women to bring change. And so, of course, the enemy hates women. He hates us because we carry life. He wants it to be about sexuality. He wants us to be independent of God and acting like, oh, these are men ruling over your womb. No, this is your choices. And again, I know the argument is always like, well, Lisa, do you want a girl that's been raped to have to carry a child by, her stepfather or her natural father, or, a victim of rape? But, again, having an abortion does not unrape the victim. Rape is tragic, and whoever does that needs to be punished by the law. But that child that she carries should not be punished for the actions of the man. And so we've gotten all of this misjudged. And plus, and it's a tragic, but it's usually only 1% of all abortions that happen. And so, even with that, it's a very small
Yes,
percentage.
yeah. And if you could say one thing to our culture about the value of unborn life, what would it be?
Yeah, I want every person out there to understand that, first of all, there is promise in every generation, and there is legacy and there is life, and we don't know what those children might carry into the future, but everyone deserves the right to live. And when we, as a community, if we do not protect the lives of those that are the most vulnerable, I mean, they'll protect the dogs. I mean, they'll protect the whales. They'll protect. If we will not protect human life, then we need to realize the day is going to come where our very own lives are going to be devalued, because what we tolerate for others actually ends up overtaking us. And so your life is valuable. And because your life is valuable, you have this ability to see others' lives as valuable. Being a mother is quite possibly the favorite thing I've ever done in my life. I'm a New York Times bestselling author. That means absolutely nothing to me. I've gotten to travel the world and speak to women all over. Nothing. The thing that I love most about my life is the privilege of partnering with God to be a mother. And being a mother is not something you do one time, because they have found out you carry that child's DNA in your body for the rest of your life. Even more intimate than a connection with a father is the connection with a mother. And so it's one of those things where it will enrich your life. And I've talked to so many women who have made the courageous choice to be a mother, and they said, it was so frightening, but I've never regretted it. And I've talked to way more women who have had abortions who now wish they had been courageous.
Exactly, courage is the key here. So thank you so much, Lisa, for the tremendous work that you're doing. We really value your voice, and I've just been so excited to chat to you. And thank you for giving your time to come on SPUCTV, bringing to light what others hide. So yeah, we'll be in touch and we'll chat to you soon.
Well, Catherine, thank you for your courage. I know Scotland is definitely under attack right now.
Yes.
So we are praying for your nation.
Thank you. We definitely need all the prayers we can get. It is getting wild.